also said it would be a wrong argument for anybody to lay false claims that the money belongs to the Nigerian government because the money was sourced from Niger Delta crude oil sales. Thaddeus Atta of the Labour Party has been reinstated by the appeal court as the lawfully elected member of the House of Representatives for the Etiosa Federal Constituency. Atta's election victory was declared void by the National Assembly Elections Petition Tribunal prior ruling, which was made in Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos State. This is coming after the tribunal's order for the Independent National Electoral Commission to hold a supplementary election at particular polling places within 90 days was overturned by the appeals court's recent ruling that the elections were definitive. The legal battle involved Nigerian singer and actor Bankole Wellington, known as Banky W of the People's Democratic Party, who was declared the runner-up in the February 2023 election, and the All Progressives Congress candidate Ibrahim Babajide Obani Koro, who earlier had filed petitions contesting the election results. The appeal court's decision reinstating Thaddeus Atta as the rightful House of Representatives member for Etiosa Federal Constituency altered the previous outcome and validated Atta's initial victory. Suspected motorcycle thief was set ablaze by an angry mob at the Otupo main roundabout in Benue State. Eyewitness said the suspected thief had allegedly snatched the motorcycle from its owner, but was unlucky because the motorcycle ran out of fuel during his escape. Another commercial motorcyclist pursued the suspected criminal and caught him at Otupo roundabout, where the suspect was identified as a notorious motorcycle thief from Modejo in Agatu local government area of the state. While the mob quickly descended on him severely before setting him ablaze. This is coming after Otupo town had recently suffered an armed robbery attack where several commercial banks were robbed and numerous individuals, including security personnel, were killed. Meanwhile, the Benue State Police Command spokesperson SP Catherine Anini is yet to confirm the incident, but the Otupo Divisional Police Office confirmed the incident, and the body of the suspected thief has been deposited at General Hospital Mortuary, Otupo, by the police. Independent National Electoral Commission has insisted that electronic collation of results is illegal in Nigeria. The Commission disclosed this against the backdrop of expectations that the results of Saturday's off-cycle governorship elections in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa states will be transmitted electronically. The Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Rotimi Oyekanmi, who made the clarification as the police in Imo State warned the organized labor against intimidating voters during the election in the state, and there has been a clamor for electronic transmission of election results in the country, with the issue forming a core plank of the presidential election petitions filed at the Presidential Elections Petitions Court by the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party. But Oyekanmi clarified that the results viewing portal was not for collating election results or determining the winner. Neither was the bimodal voter accreditation system an electronic voting machine, adding that polling units election results, also known as Form EC8As, will be uploaded directly to the INEC results viewing portal from the individual polling units by presiding officers after the close of poll and declaration of results at that level. The Independent National Electoral Commission has insisted that the electronic collation of results in Nigeria is illegal. The Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Rotimi Oyekanmi, who made the clarification on Wednesday, said the result viewing portal was not for collating election.
Custodians of the law are the ones breaking. Is what the Bible said, when the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? It's as simple as anything. Now, I keep telling people, it is not what you do that gives you result. It's how you go about doing it. You could be doing the same business, not getting result because of how you go about doing it. I will be doing that same business with a different modus operandi, and I'm getting result, and you begin to wonder, what is happening? Our politicians have failed to look inward. I say this and I'm saying it again. He is an elder statesman. After all that happened before and after the election, they are still as divided as we can see. And the shocker of all, for him to know that they are far, PDP, national and whatever, is far from reconciling and amending fence. The PDP Governors Forum went to see the president and pledged an alloyed support.
Pioneer of our social political organization, Afeni Ferry, says it is not happy with the rate of insecurity in some parts of the country as a result of the attacks by some armed headsmen on farmers. The group noted that the criminal activities of the bandits against farmers raised the need for the creation of state police to enhance proper security at the grassroots level. The communique issued by the Secretary General of the Association, Chief Sola Ebiseni, in Akure, said the communique was issued at the meeting of the group at the residence of its leader, Pa Ayo Adebanjo Inobu, Ijebu, Ogun State. Afeni Ferry observed the alarming resurgence of insecurity occasioned by the activities of armed cattle herders, terrorizing farmers, killing, maiming the people, and raping women, for which some of the host communities are no longer comfortable living with the killer guest. On True Federalism, the group called on the federal government to adopt the report of the 2014 Confab or the Nasir El-Rufai Committee on Federalism to restructure the country and change the 1999 constitution, adding that Nigeria is a federation of entrenched ethnic nationalities, which is ruled based on true federalism, which guarantees inclusiveness, fairness, egalitarianism, justice, and a sense of belongings to all its constituent groups. It would remain a mere geographical expression with no sense of common nationalism and patriotism. Justice Olukayode Adeniyi of the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja has released on bail the embattled former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, who had been in custody since June 6, 2023, when he was removed from office by President Bola Tinubu. This is coming shortly after his suspension on June 10th. The Department of State Services picked up Emefiele and kept him in custody till October 26th, defying a court order for his release after his release by the DSS on October 26th. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission immediately picked him up and took him into custody. To secure his freedom, Emefiele approached Justice Adeniyi with a fundamental rights enforcement suit seeking a declaration that his prolonged detention without trial was illegal, and also demanded damages in the sum of 5 million naira, and following an ex parte motion in the suit against the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Attorney General of the Federation him in court on November 6th. The anti-graft, however, neither released Emefiele nor took him to the court on November 6th as ordered by the judge, prompting the judge to restate his order and mandate the anti-graft agency to bring Emefiele before him on Wednesday. In a submission, counsel for the AGF, Oyin Koleoso, argued that it was untrue that Emefiele had been in detention for 100 days, while Koleoso urged the judge not to release Emefiele on bail, saying the federal government was set to arraign him on November 15 in another pending matter. White paper report of the Presidential Visitation Panels to federal universities, which was released earlier in 2023, has revealed that some staff members of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Federal University Wukari, and the Federal University Kashere failed to retire nothing less than 62 The white papers were not presented until 2023. And while looking through the financial statement of the university, adding that his Ford Edge SUV has been forcefully detained and kept in the custody of LASMA in one of their car parks. He alleged that when the vehicle was taken from him, the sum of $1,700 and a 52 Samsung Galaxy handset and other valuables such as perfume and hand sanitizers were inside the vehicle, and after writing a petition dated 25th August 2023, he was invited to LASMA head office on Monday, 4th October 2023, after he returned from Abuja, where he attended the Nigerian...
Defending our citizens' rights and freedoms, the court is essential of expression and cyber security. This symposium comes at a pivotal moment in our history, where the fusion of law and technology is altering the legal system. The Nigerian judiciary needs to move with the times to make sure that justice is not only technically or technologically savvy, but also unbiased.
Around fake news, artificial intelligence, and the essence of this is to promote respect for digital rights in Nigeria. And we know that the legal community and judicial actors have a key role to play in terms of interpretation of policies and legislations around digital rights. So this is one of the efforts of the e-rights project, the Enhancing Digital Rights project, funded by the European Union and implemented by Vocation Frontier France, in ensuring that our legal community is at rest with the developments in this fast changing and fast-paced area of digital rights, digital technology. And we believe that there is so much potential with regards to technology and technological advancements, with regards to the contribution to digital economy, but also we are very well aware of the threats that online platforms and engagements present. So we believe that today's training would, at the end of the day, contribute to respect for digital rights, and we are also going to be providing legal assistance to victims of digital rights violations, and eventually we're bringing up a free legal assistance, we're bringing up cases before the courts on the area of digital rights, as well as carrying out strategic litigation to ensure that from the onset we have key interpretations, key precedents with regards to digital rights in the country.
President of the Senate, Gospel Apabio, says ministries, departments, and agencies that fail to appear to defend their input in the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper risk may be sacked by President Bola Tinubu. The Senate President disclosed this at the opening of a 5-day public hearing on the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper organized by the Senate Joint Committees on Finance, Appropriation, National Planning, and Economic Affairs, as well as local content of foreign debts.
The House, of course, at its plenary referred the MTF document to us, and in compliance with the laws, we wrote letters to all the agencies to appear before us to defend their submissions. Unfortunately, it is clear that these agencies are ignoring or have ignored our invitations. And the House must pass this MTF before the budget is laid. So we want to make it clear that any delay arising for the passage of MTF is surely not the fault of the National Assembly. And so we appeal to the President to direct all his agencies, ministers and all his agencies, to appear before us unfailingly.
Senate Committee on Navy says it will investigate the circumstances and issues surrounding the controversial presidential yacht within the next 1 week. The committee, chaired by Senator Benga Daniel, according to a statement by his media office, says the probe was in response to escalating controversy surrounding the procurement of a yacht. Reacting on the development in Atlantic television, a sociopolitical analyst, Ernest Roland Douglas, said the presidential yacht is not necessary at the time the Nigerian economy is fast winding down, adding that it is a lost priority on the nation.
Current government to embark on such a frivolous spending spree. Do we need a yacht at this period where we don't have functional refineries, at this period where there is so much hunger and poverty? The answer is no. Do we need all these luxurious 130 million each SUVs for the National Assembly at this period where we don't have functional refineries, we don't have functional institutions, there is hunger and poverty? The answer is no. Now, this story of the Senate wanting to go in to do investigation, for me, the answer is also no. Because this is going to be another jamboree where the scarce resources will be used and frittered away over jamboree movements across the country by the senators. We've got to put our priorities right. If this current government means well, first, cut the cost of governance by 40%. And then take off all these frivolous expenditures. Do we need even a supplementary budget at this period of the year when 2024 is just by the corner? We are talking about issues that affect 99% of the population. Provide us fuel that God has given to us. We are talking about, oh, you are going to wait till December. What date in December to have a functional refinery? That is impacting on your economy. That's impacting on the lifestyles of the people. We have very misplaced priorities.
Speaking further, he explained that it would be a gross contradiction should the presidency link the demand for a yacht to the Nigerian Navy.
The presidency also has its own budget. There is no way they are going to now shift what they have budgeted for their own use to the Nigerian Navy. The Nigerian Navy itself, well, even if they don't say anything because, you know, of probably the terms and conditions of the roles and responsibility of the Chief of Naval Staff, he reports to the President. So I don't expect the Chief of Naval Staff to come and contradict the presidency because it's politically not expedient for him to do so. And we also, as citizens, don't expect them to come to do so as well. That's why they are top secret agencies. Now, the presidency that are coming to make such statements both functional warships and effective training and empowerment of their personnel that are taking care of all this equipment. The Navy does not need a yacht, and the federal government should stop dragging the Navy into it.
House of Representatives Committee on Inland Waterways has assured that it will use legislation and oversight activities to address the root cause of boat mishaps in the country. Chairman of the House Committee, Honorable Jema Ojutu, gave the assurance in his remarks at the inaugural session with the members of the committee. According to the chairman, the meeting is to signal the official takeoff of the committee in the 10th National Assembly, adding that there are several reports of death resulting from boat mishaps in the country, and assured that through effective oversight of the relevant agencies of government and adequate legislations, it will be tackled by the committee holistically. Ojutu further stated that the House Committee is to oversight the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and its parastatals, except those under the jurisdiction of other committees, the Inland Waterways, the National Inland Waterways Authority, and the budgets.
We begin to give attention to issue of the incessant accident in our waterways. We make it we will declare state of emergency. While I'm a little bit very reluctant about it, we have new MD. And if we begin to make a lot of noise around it, it appears as if, when this thing was happening, we were quiet. But the good thing is that we must give it time, and we must ensure that in a short while from now, whatever that is responsible for those things, we will deal with them. And the story that we'll be hearing from our waterways will be, marine transport will become a different story entirely. And of course, we must also ensure that we interact with other countries, other African countries. We have Africa Bank and all that. They benefit from what happened, the connection, interconnection, and all of that. So they will also be able to see how they can support us. We'll learn from their story, those of them who are doing very well. We'll see how we can get connected to them, and then we'll see how we can.
The Chairman House Committee on FCT, Mukhtar Betara, who also spoke during an inaugural meeting of the House Committee, called on the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, to pay attention to the security of lives and property in the nation's capital, and also urged the former Rivers State Governor to commit his energy experience and network to improve on revenue generation to fund the infrastructural development of the FCT. Betara, while urging members to dedicate their time and energy to the realization of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu, and the committee could not afford to fail FCT natives and residents in the task entrusted to them.
The budget of the FCT, federal government gives FCT less than 20 billion in the budget. So most of this budget are statutory budgets. So we need money to run FCT. We are planning maybe by 2024 statutory budget. I told Pamsek we should think of 1 trillion and above. Yes, because we have it. There are ways to raise these monies. We have a serious minister that wants to work. Sometimes a lot of people do not understand when the FCT minister are working. If you sit with him, you talk with him, you're like, he knows he's a serious person. So I'm pleading with this committee, please we should support the FCT. For us, we should support the FCT for us to get more revenues next year so that the 10th National Assembly will leave legacy.
Speaking on behalf of the Minister of FCT, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mr. Adesola Olushade, thanked the committee for their commitment to assist in the development of the Capital Territory. He also enjoined them to work assiduously on bills pending before them concerning the development and congestion of the city capital.
The flight of the AICM, it is one of the reform initiatives of the Honorable Minister to address the revenue generation capacity of this agency, particularly their governance structure. And that is what informed on his assumption of office to remove the headship in order to pave the way for unfettered review and appointment of headship that will be able to fulfill the objectives. We pay great attention to the security challenge, and that is why we are implementing efforts that will address this. Why the problem of one chance is still there and other security measures, but if you recall in few weeks now, there has been substantial decline in this. The police are implementing various measures and arrests have been made. And by now, within 1 or 2 weeks, no arrest is made because they have seen that they have to leave Abuja. So the incidence of having a vehicle carrying 2 plate number is now very rare.
Members of the Green Chamber of the National Assembly have lamented the illegal imprisonment of Okuma Chika and discriminatory arrest of Nigerians in the Republic of Benin. This was contained in a motion currently sponsored by Honorable Kingsley Chinda and 10 other lawmakers. Leading the debate, Honorable Jinja Onwisibe, one of the sponsors of the motion, expressed concern.
Alleged to have been arrested by the country's police service, the Republican Police, DGPR, on April 18, 2023, concerned that Okuma Chika, who after his undergraduate academic program in Republic of Benin, worked as an administrative staff at Oxfam University in Port Novo, has been incarcerated at the Apro Mesare prison since April 26, 2023, over allegation of internet fraud. Also concerned that after a series of investigations which confirmed that Okuma Chika is legally employed by Oxford University and that his job schedule includes processing admissions, facilitating transcripts, academic guidance, and similar duties, he is still being held in detention by the Republic Police authorities. Worried that many Nigerians in Republic of Benin who are legal residents engaging in lawful enterprises are victims of unlawful and discriminatory arrests and detention by the Republican Police. Also worried that the unlawful castrated and influenced by their Beninese colleagues, workmates, and acquaintances who are envious of the hardworking, resilient, and enterprising spirit.
The House, however, resolved to mandate the Committees on Foreign Affairs, Human Rights, and Diaspora to investigate the incessant mistreatment of Nigerians living in the Republic of Benin and report within 2 weeks for further legislative action. The House in plenary also passed for second reading a bill for an act to amend the Central Bank of Nigeria Act. The bill, sponsored by Honorable Francis Wave from Delta State, seeks to address several aspects of the act. Addressing members of the House Press Corps, Honorable Wave, who is also the Chairman of Rules and Business of the House, said the amendment will enhance the effectiveness, transparency, and accountability of CBN and its operations.
Bill to propose the amendments to the CBN Act. First is to ensure that we have a chairman of the board, compromise the independence. To that extent, I have provided in 62A that such a person must be a former governor of the CBN, and where there is non-existing a former chairman or managing director of a bank. And this is to ensure independence of the governor in such a way that there's somebody to check him. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, we are told, so that one governor will not have all that power in his hands. 6 and then for 7, the day-to-day management. The present act provides that the governor will hand over to a deputy. I think that that is too wide, because the governor now picks any of the deputies that is his favorite or that will do his bidding. What I propose here is that the person to hand over to is the most senior deputy governor, the hierarchy, and I think it will be good for our country. I've also asked for an amendment of Section 8, subsection 3, in such a way that the salaries, the wages of staff of the CBN from the governor himself to be determined by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission as done for other public servants. I don't see any way this will erode the independence of the CBN, and that henceforth any attempt or attempted attempt to change our currency must be with public knowledge, with the president giving his go-ahead, and we must have a minimum of 1 year notice whereby both currencies, the new and the old, can run concurrently. In the last amendment here, Section 48, is the budgetary process of the CBN. I do not think it is healthy for it to be in secrecy or to be such that it's impossible to oversight.
And it include Section 7, subsection 1, subsection 8, subsection 3, Section 20, subsection 3, and Section 48 of the CBN Act. You are watching the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. We'll return after this break. Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now the rest of our stories. Chairman House Committee on Finance, Honorable James Falake, has called on the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to caution heads of ministries, departments, and agencies to respond to an invitation filed the House Committee in order to ensure the quick passage of the medium-term expenditure framework of MTF FSP 2004 to 2006. Falake disclosed this at the committee hearing when the most of the MDAs failed to appear despite being served notice by the clerk of the committee. Chairman of the committee has issued a warning while directing the President to call heads of MDAs to order.
President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has said that ministries, departments and agencies of government that fail to appear before it to defend their input in the 2024-2026 medium-term expenditure framework and physical strategy paper risks being sacked by President Bola Tinubu. Senator Godswill Akpabio, who decried alleged frivolous expenditures by ministries, departments and agencies, particularly the government-owned enterprises, also acknowledged that in view of the current realities, borrowing cannot be totally avoided and cannot be allowed to continue unchecked. According to him, achieving a balance to reduce budget deficits requires legislative work to look inward towards increasing revenue generation and blocking leakages.
But every head of agency invited to come and sit down and interact with the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with a view to planning and strategizing on how this present administration, and I've also seen the DG, Nimasa and others, outside my minister, who himself knows the importance of what we are doing.
Authority, Senator Olubenga Safa was asked to take a bow after defending the proposal of his agency. While the Permanent Secretary Budget and Planning Office was given a new date to appear before the committee, recall that the President had on Tuesday last week transmitted the MTE FSP to both chambers of the National Assembly for quick deliberation and pass it along with 2023 supplementary budget. And now to business. House of Representatives Committee on Finance has probed some irregularities in the registration of subsidiaries company under the Nigerian Postal Service. Chairman of the committee, Honorable James Abiodun Falake, representing APC Lagos State, issued the query when the Ministry of Finance, incorporated alongside other agencies, appeared before the committee for an interactive session on the 2024-2026 Medium-Term Expenditures Framework, FSP. Speaking during the session, Falake noted that documents before the committee show that two subsidiaries under NIPOS were registered under individual names as shareholders instead of the federal government. Wondering why that was so, since NIPOS is an asset of the federal government, he observed the registration of the two subsidiary companies, namely NIPOS Property Company Limited and NIPOS Logistics, were done with individuals as stakeholders. Falake also raised issues over the approval and withdrawals of 10 billion naira for the purpose of the registration of the subsidiary companies.
As it is by law, they are the owner of this company and they are the owner of all assets of NIPOS by law. Are you lawyers? That's what I understand. I also have another one which NIPOS Logistics or something like that, also registered in personal names. So I want to know from you, did you give permission to CAC to register your assets in personal name, Nigerian assets? Because what I can see here is that even some of them, they were working as civil servants when this was registered. Well, some of them, they were civil servants, and some have retired. But as it is by law, they are the owners of NIPOS Properties and NIPOS Transport Limited. Can you please confirm what's responsible for this? And if you want to create a subsidiary, should the subsidiary come in personal names of individuals not known to, who never made contributions to the assets?
In his response, the Chief Executive Officer of MOFI, Dr. Armstrong Takang, admitted there were irregularities within the system, adding that the support of the committee is needed to achieve.
Dated as the MOFI Act is, the very fundamental basis for that act talked about easements and rights. And so anything that federal government owns or shares in, it should have been
Earlier in his opening remarks, Honorable Falake stated that the federal government must not accept laxity on the part of any agency or representative acting on its behalf in signing deals that affect the country, and also emphasized that the interactive session with the agencies and stakeholders on government finances is to ensure the passage of the MTEF/FSP before the presentation of the 2024 annual budget. Presidential candidate of Labour Party Peter Obi is demanding for the accountability of signing into the law of the 2.17 trillion supplementary budget by President Bola Tinubu. In his reaction, he claimed in a statement that President Bola Tinubu failed to consider certain emergencies and pressing needs of the country, adding that going by the manner the budgetary allocations were done, it was obvious the president was unaware of the dire crisis in the country. This is coming after President Tinubu assented to the supplementary budget at his office in the presidential villa Abuja in the presence of Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas. However, Abubakar Bagudu, who spoke after a Federal Executive Council meeting last week, clarified that the largest portion of the total budget of 605 billion naira would be dedicated to enhancing the nation's 1,000 naira each to about 1.5 million employees of the federal government for cash transfers to vulnerable and impoverished Nigerians between October and November. Central Bank of Nigeria says every banknote remains legal tender and should not be rejected by anybody. This is as the Apex Bank directed all its branches across the country to continue to issue different denominations of the old and redesigned banknotes in adequate quantities to deposit money banks, stressing that every banknote remains legal tender and should not be rejected by anyone. The statement issued by the Director of Corporate Communications of CBN, Issa Abdul Mumin, in Abuja said the directive follows reports of scarcity of cash across some major cities in the country, despite initial assurances by the CBN of sufficient cash stocks in all locations across the country. Issa further advised members of the public to reduce the pressure on the use of fiscal cash and embrace alternative modes of payment, adding that the Apex Bank issued a directory to the public that it had sufficient stock of currency notes following alleged report of scarcity of cash in banks, automated teller machines, points of sale, and bureau de change in some major cities across the country. The bank noted that the cash scarcity in some locations was due to high volume withdrawals from CBN branches by deposit money banks and panic withdrawals by customers from the ATMs, and had to clarify the situation of the Naira because of a December 2023 deadline looming on the legitimacy of old Naira. Spanish ambassador to Nigeria Juan Jal says Spain is planning partnership with Nigeria as part of Spain's 3-month deployment of ships within the Gulf of Guinea. Jal, who stated this in Apapa, Lagos during the reception on board its warship Bam Tornado, said the ship is in Lagos as part of our 3-month deployment within the Gulf of Guinea, which falls within what they call the European Coordinated Maritime Presence, and it is the reason why the Spanish Navy, together with other naives, were strategizing with the Nigerian Navy and Spain partners with Nigeria in addressing maritime security. Also, the commanding officer, David Castillo, said the purpose of the visit was to ensure maritime security on offshore patrol vessel and redeployment for more than 100 days in the Gulf of Guinea, and in the course of their movement, they would share information with the host countries in order to ensure maritime security, adding that it is difficult for one country to address maritime security and stressed the essence of partnership. On his part, the Chief Staff Officer Headquarters, Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Jonathan Marmon, said the move was part Navy's tradition when ships from other countries visit other countries. And after a long cruise at sea, they come to pay homage, and when they do, that we also reciprocate by coming over to have an evening with them. United Nations Human Rights Commissioner has accused both Israel and Hamas of war crimes. Volker Turk cited the continued holding of hostages by Hamas and what he called Israel's collective punishment of Palestinian civilians and its unlawful forcible evacuations of parts of Gaza, while the United Nations chief, Antonio Guterres, says the number of civilians killed in Gaza shows something is clearly wrong with Israel's military operation. Israel says 50,000 Palestinians left the Gaza City area on Wednesday after its military opened up in the main road to southern Gaza, and the military spokesperson said people were fleeing because Hamas had lost control of the north, while 4 weeks ago, Israel has told people in the north of Gaza to head south, saying it is safer, though Hamas-run authorities reported airstrikes on Wednesday in both the north and south Israel began striking Gaza after the Hamas attacks on October 7th, which saw 1,400 people killed and more than 200 taken hostage, and more than 10,500 people have been killed in Gaza since, according to the Hamas-run health ministry, including more than 4,300 children. United States officials and the Iran-aligned Houthi movement says Yemen's Houthi rebels have shot down a U.S. military drone. The U.S. officials said an MQ-9 drone was shot down off the Yemeni coast by Houthi forces and was confirmed by a Houthi military spokesperson. It comes as Washington is on alert for activity by Iran-backed groups in the Middle East, as its close ally, Israel, a fierce rival of Tehran, battles Hamas in the Gaza Strip. While last month a U.S. Navy warship intercepted cruise missiles and several drones launched by the Houthis from Yemen towards Israel. The United States has moved military assets, including aircraft carriers, marines, and support ships, to the Middle East in the wake of regional tensions surrounding the Israel-Gaza war, including troops being stationed on board military vessels in the Red Sea, which lies between Yemen and Israel. The deputy leader of strikes, the second in recent weeks, were in response to attacks against the U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria. While the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights War Monitor said the strike killed 9 people affiliated with Iran-backed groups in Syria, a figure that could not be independently confirmed. And now to entertainment. Nigerian singer Oluwajuwonlu Iledare, aka J1, has selected his favorite between colleagues, Wizkid and Davido. He explained that he loves them both, but his spirit resonates more with Davido, adding that Davido is a very positive person and it will be long before the Nigerian music industry will have someone like him again. On his X handle, J1 wrote, "I love Wizkid and I love Davido, but my spirit resonates more around Davido." Popular Nigerian singer Yemi Alade says she is still considering her feelings about the pressure she receives from her family and friends to get married. While subtly refuting the viral reports of her marriage to her manager, Alade said, "People often get married, especially towards the end of the year. I'm not feeling pressured." She also said, "Family pressure is a challenging thing to resist because it is coming from the people I respect and look up to, insisting that I should get married. However, I believe that if they genuinely have my best interests at heart, they will be patient with me because finding the right partner is more crucial than just getting married." Popular Nigerian musician said that men tend to die younger than women. This is coming after a 2019 World Health Organization analysis of global health statistics also stated that women tend to live longer than men because men often seek healthcare services less frequently than women. The World Healthcare Organization, while explaining the differences in life expectancy, revealed that a baby boy born in Africa in 2016 could expect to live to age 60, while a baby girl could expect to live to age 63. And now to sports. Kano Pillars head coach Abdullahi Maikaba says the club legend Raibu Ali may retire at the end of the 2023-24 Nigeria Premier Football League season. Maikaba said the club have already started grooming players that will replace Ali in the team, while the 43-year-old midfielder Rabui Ali has played in all 7 of Sai Masu Hida's MPFL fixtures this season and has scored 2 goals. He has been a pivotal figure for Kano Pillars since joining the club in 2009, scoring over 100 goals. Napoli head coach Rudy Garcia says Victor Osimhen will return to action after the upcoming international break. Osimhen has been sidelined since sustaining a hamstring injury on international duty last month, and the forward returned in Naples on Wednesday after he was granted a week leave to sort out family issues in Nigeria. The 24-year-old was among the spectators that watched the Napoli's UEFA Champions League clash against Bundesliga side Union Berlin at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium on Wednesday night. Said the Serie A champions will entertain Atlanta on Sunday, November 25th, and Garcia expects Osimhen to be available for the game. The striker scored 6 goals and 10